every single episode is going to be live.
Every town has a ghost story that's been passed down throughout the generations. But what if those legends are true? My job is to travel to these destinations, explore them, and figure out the mystery that lies within.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday night. We are here on Ghost Biker Garage Live with the Behind the Screams episode for season 8, episode 4. So thank you all so much that joined us the other night whenever we did the live show. And here we are tonight. We're going to be breaking it down, and I'm so happy to be here on our traditional Thursday night live. I know the past couple weeks we've had to kind of change things around a little bit and do these live episodes on different nights. I think we did one on a Wednesday night and a Monday night, but I'm happy to be back on a Thursday night. We didn't have any investigations or anything going on, so we're going to sit down, kind of talk a little bit about our last episode that we had. I'm going to be having a guest tonight. Tiffany is supposed to be on here in just a little bit. She's going to be coming on, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the episode. She's running just a little bit behind there. So when she's able to get on, we will pull her onto the screen. Just making sure here that she's not she's not sent a message or anything yet. But I want to say hello to everyone over here in the chat room. We've got a lot of folks over here. Again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We've got Nancy Weems on here. Always good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We've got, we've got Mr. Daryl Paulette from Clover Hill Village, as well as the Appomattox Jail over there in Appomattox, Virginia, as well as Bedford Paranormal. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have our friend Bob. Bob is no longer banned, which I accidentally banned him the other night. So it's good to see you on here as well. And then, of course, we have Sylvain. Thank you for staying up late or getting up early, whatever the case may be, from your neck of the woods over there. So thank you. It's always good to see you. Let's see. We've got Brittany Overton. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. We got Angela Brinson on there. I met Angela this past weekend, actually, at Goblin Con in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to do a full episode on Goblin Con, a full Thursday night not behind the screens, but Ghost Biker Garage on that, because I met some wonderful people. It was a great convention. We didn't really get the opportunity to talk a whole lot about it. I'm going to be posting some pictures as well as sharing some different things. So for those of you that I met there at Goblin Con, welcome, and thank you so much for for tuning in tonight. Let's see, we've got Jackie Hanley on here. Hey, Jackie. And I know there's several people that should be tuning in a little bit later. Hopefully they'll make it on. I had some messages beforehand saying that some people were going to be tuning on later tonight. Let's see. We've got Angie and Shane McLean. Bishop Shane, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Brittany says, hopefully I make it through the live. Exhausted tonight. I was a worker of the Goblin Con. That's right. I met Brittany there as well. So I'm thinking tonight, our Thursday nights are usually a pretty relaxed show. The lives, as far as the investigations, they tend to go a little bit longer. This one went for 3.5 hours, and we didn't. Most people, they kind of stayed on throughout the whole thing, but our breakdown shows, we tend to kind of go a little bit shorter on time there. And then we've got Miss Jolly Goins there. I was just checking to see if I've heard anything from Tiffany. Still haven't heard anything from her. So I was kind of waiting on her to get started, but we'll go ahead and kind of break into this past week's episode. Now, if you are new to the season, welcome. Hope you'll go back and catch up on some of the episodes. First episode of season 8, we did Haunted Harriman Hospital, where we hit the hospital and had a really interesting session there on the floor that extends the full. It was a full city block. It was the city block hall. Then the second episode, we did let's see here. Second episode, we did the Cleveland Metal Foundry. Sorry, drawing a blank on the name. I wasn't able to give the name in the beginning, but we're able to reveal the location. We were able to visit the Cleveland Metal Foundry, where we covered that on the second episode. And then on the third, we did a home here in East Tennessee, an undisclosed location that I do have a family connection to. And then in this past episode, this past week, we did an undisclosed church and funeral home that is located here in East Tennessee. This was a really fun one, and it was really interesting as far as activity goes, because we wasn't really sure what direction I was going to take with it. If I was going to go as far as the church, do like a mock church service, or do a funeral home and do a mock funeral service. So thought best thing to do is to go in and just sort of see where the location leads. And so as we went in and were doing that, we kind of went the route of doing a church service. Wanted to keep things kind of positive, and I'm really pleased with the route that we went. You guys asked some great questions during the episode, and I feel like we got a lot of really good, intelligent responses to that. Let's see, what does Shane say over here? Shane says, I've got to have you back on Bridging the Seen and Unseen with all these wonderful things you have going on. Yeah, I'd love to come back. Definitely, and talk about the season. That would be great. Now, if you guys have any questions or comments about the episode itself, please feel free to put those over in the comment section. If you will, put them in all caps. That way I won't miss your questions as we're going throughout. But if you are on a phone, or if you are on there and are unable to do all caps, that's perfectly fine. Again, we're pretty laid back and casual here, so I just want to make sure that I don't miss anyone on there. There's Tiffany. Let me go ahead and get her pulled up. Hey,
sorry.
That's okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Audio problems this time. I'll get it right eventually.
Well, I didn't really want to get too far into the episode until you got on here, because we've been talking about this one since the night of the investigation.
Yeah.
For better reasons than we were on the second episode.
Yeah. Much better reasons, and such a good investigation.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't had one that good in a while.
Yeah.
Just a good old fashioned investigation, and yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
And first off, I want to say happy friend anniversary. I saw that pop up on Facebook earlier.
Oh yeah, I haven't been on there.
Yeah,
so I haven't seen it.
I saw that pop up. We became friends 9 years ago today. So
seems like we've been friends longer.
I know, right?
If everybody wants to know how we become friends, we met and then we planned a 3-day road trip without knowing each other. To investigate, and actually it was the best road trip ever. So yeah, we fit so much in that 3-day weekend, and we've been attached at the hip since, pretty much. So
yeah, nobody I'd rather investigate with. And so
Daryl and Angie.
So definitely wanted to make sure to mention that. Let's see. I'm looking here on the comments. Angela says it was very interesting, and of course, Daryl, and Angie and Shane say hi to Tiffany there. Yeah, so let's kind of talk about this. So we're one episode away from the season finale, and I thought that would be a great time to cover something. Our theme this season is the life cycle, and I thought that'd be a great time to cover church or a funeral home, because both of those, some people, church is not as important to, but I know for me and a lot of folks that is kind of an important part of the life cycle. But then of course the funeral home, that's usually, not always, but usually something that if you're not doing it in a funeral home, you're at least having a funeral for your loved one. So it's something that affects everybody's life. So I thought that it would be an interesting one to cover there. And I mean, it definitely didn't disappoint.
No, for sure. No, that's definitely it was a surprising investigation to me, the kind of activity that we got. I guess I'm not used to that kind of activity. And then it's been a while since I've been able to do an investigation where you're not just going and investigating and leaving. Of course, I went in cold for sure, other than the one time we spent an hour in there. I've never dug into any history or anything like that. And then to be able to validate things in real time that we were getting, and then afterwards to be able to look things up and go, oh my gosh, this fits even more, and get into the research and history part. That's one of my favorite things anyway. So that just made it even better. So we was up talking about it all night.
Yeah, all night.
And researching, and we couldn't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so and you bring up a really good point, because a lot of the time on these lives, we're not able to really go and validate, but we were not only just able to validate some of the responses, but after the live, we were actually able to validate specific names related to specific tasks inside of the church itself.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll talk about all that. Some things I may not be able to reveal just yet, because this was an undisclosed location. And that's so, for one, due to privacy of the owner, we aren't putting the information out there. And then two, I kind of thought it would be a cool way to do the episode anyways, because it's not like we're investigating a specific event that happened at this location. It's just investigating a church in general. And so it's kind of irrelevant, some of the history, if you will. But just to give you the information that I can, if you didn't watch the episode, the church was built in 1950. It functioned as a church from 1950 up until 2007. 2007, it was the church ended up building a new building. They moved to another location. They sold the building to a funeral home, and it functioned as a funeral home from 2007 up until, I believe it was up until around 2020. And so it's been closed as a funeral home or anything to the public since about 2020. The new owner got it last year. And so they've been doing some construction on it, hopefully going to be turning it into something pretty neat. But they were able to allow us to come in and investigate the location. So I think it's also kind of important that the construction was going on at this point, and that maybe that did change some activity, because when you and I were in there back in July,
they hadn't started yet.
No. So I think they had started maybe tearing some of the walls out, but really the extent of it was they hadn't done anything to it.
Yeah.
So Shane says that he'll come and proceed a service if we all have it again.
That'd be appreciative.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job on your little sermon there.
Yeah, that was best you're gonna get out of me on a sermon, I guess. Us women don't do the sermons.
Not in a Baptist church.
No.
And so that is another point to add. This was a Baptist church. So we, obviously, depending on your denomination, some things are done differently. And so both Tiffany and I were raised Southern Baptist. And So we got some interesting. Whoop, there goes Tiffany. We got some interesting responses when we kind of went down that route, using some of the specific lingo and some of the specific terminology that is related to a Baptist church. So we'll give her just a few minutes and see if she makes it back on there. So that's just kind of giving a little bit of information about it. As far as the layout of the church, we did this, we showed it while we were, we didn't really give a full tour of the church, but it was, it's 2 levels. The upper level is the sanctuary. And so you have a long center aisle there. The windows have been covered in there. It had some, oh, there's Tiffany. Okay.
It booted me out. I'm sorry.
I was just explaining the layout of the church there. So the windows, the nice stained glass windows, had been covered on the inside, and that was because where it was used as a funeral home, they tried to keep a lot of the noise down, any of the noise contamination, because we were there by a highway, and it did do really well as far as keeping that extra contamination out. Unless you just had like a big truck with a Jake brake or something like that. It was actually pretty quiet. The baptistry had also been closed up, of course, early on. They didn't have, in the very beginning, they wouldn't have had a baptistry inside the church. They would have actually baptized over at the river. And then downstairs, that would have been where, well, let me just jump back. Also upstairs there were the offices. And so one of those offices was specifically the casket room, where you would meet to plan the funeral, pick your casket, your urn, that sort of thing. We actually did not investigate in there on this session. We intended to, but didn't. And then, of course, downstairs in the lower level, you had the kitchen, and then there was a long hallway with individual classrooms. And most of those, when this was a church, would have been the Bible school, the Sunday school classes. And then whenever this would have been a funeral home, this would have been used as the offices. They did not do any embalming in there. They did have an embalming table, but from my understanding, this was a branch of a family funeral home, so they did the embalming and such at another location. And then there was a big main room, which would have probably been like a community room, I think is what we could call that. So also, Angie and Shane bring up a good question. He says they also buried on the church grounds. There is a graveyard that is attached to the church there. I don't remember how many people were inside. In your research, did you see
172 people are buried at that graveyard?
Okay, great. Yeah. And it is one of the older graveyards in the area.
It's the oldest next to the Huntsville graveyard. And the first burial was an infant.
So so it is a older graveyard in the area. Yeah. So, and that's a good point, which we'll get to here in just a little bit. Let's see. Shane says before he became a bishop, he was a Baptist pastor for 3 years. And Bob is giving you a hard time, saying they like kicking you off.
Yeah, they do.
I think he thinks I'm kicking you off.
It probably is.
I have a habit of kicking him off, booting him, and banning him out of the show. I'm secretly banning you on there.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm just technologically challenged.
Now, I just made a couple different points on here before we get into showing some of the episode. I felt like we had very intelligent activity throughout the entire time. Spot on, flashlights lighting up. Again, this was a location that had only been investigated. We were the first formal investigation that was
Yeah.
in there. And then you and I had investigated it back in July on just kind of a little short impromptu. We didn't even have any tools. We didn't even have any tools, didn't have any recorders.
No.
But we are going to
We had
show,
ourselves.
yeah, and
And
we are going to
our
show some
camera.
pictures from that
Yeah.
night because we
Yeah.
got some
Good
incredible pictures. And then I've been in there on just a couple other occasions for an hour or so at a time asking some questions. So, but when we're doing these newer locations, we like to use the flashlights and use some other tools that are a little more simple until we establish communication, establish that there are even hauntings, because this is another one of those locations like last week's location that I can't say that there's ever been any reported activity there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And it was neat that it was such a small location that, and we were able to go ahead and set up all the other equipment too, just to see if they would interact with it or what we could get. So, we weren't having to bare bones it and worry about, having to pick stuff up in a hurry or anything like that. So we was able to set up quite a bit of equipment.
Yeah.
And it kind of just kept linked to the theory that the flashlights was, that works the best and early, the simpler means of communication seem to work best when they haven't been communicated with before.
Absolutely. So, and that was the thing. We did have, so we put multiple flashlights out. What we did is we spaced them out throughout the entire church. We had some kind of sitting on the front pew, in the middle area, and then all the way in the back. We also had flashlights. We had 2 over on the piano because it seemed like the person at the piano was very chatty with us. So we had a yes/no flashlight set up there. We also had the EDI Plus box sitting over there. We had a tripwire stretched throughout the entire center aisle. We had one stretched across the stage. We had the SLS camera set up. We brought the Ovilus out, and then downstairs we had a tripwire stretched along the entire center hallway going throughout the pews there. Or pews, door, I can't even talk, office doors.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And then we had a laser grid as well as a REM pod there at the bottom of the downstairs. And then we had static cameras. We had 2 static cameras downstairs. That's right, motion detector, 2 static cameras downstairs, and then a static camera sitting up on the pastor's podium there, and we had a flashlight sitting on the pastor's podium.
And didn't we bring down the EDI, or was it the other one?
We took down the EDI.
Okay, yeah, so we had that down there too. We
had the APL sitting on the piano as well, but I don't think I ever turned it on.
Yeah, no, we never got it turned on.
Yeah,
but
yeah, so yeah, that was, to me, we pulled everything out. The only thing we didn't do was we didn't pull the spirit box out, and there was a few other little tools that we didn't pull out, but we wanted to give them a variety of options. So as Bob says, he said the Ovilus was spot on all night.
Probably one of the best Ovilus sessions I've had. Yeah. I mean, my Ovilus spits out junk most of the time. So if it gives me something good, I know that it's accurate. But everybody else seems to get really good stuff. But this is the best one I've seen, been a part of. I mean, it was spot on all night. And then even more spot on than we thought.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I kind of wonder. So I pull my Ovilus out a lot and have used it in different places, and it's getting better at some of these other spots. But it makes me wonder if the Ovilus doesn't work better in locations where you have the possibility of a huge number of people or a huge number of objects. And the reason I say that is because last year when we did the antique stores, it seemed very spot on, but it was almost like there were a lot of different things that it could pull from.
That makes sense. Because I
But
tend to investigate if I take my stuff.
yeah,
If I wasn't, at my location, then places I would go would be a lot bigger places, and I wouldn't really get much.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think now I'm thinking, yeah, I think it does work better in smaller places. That's usually where I get better stuff. So, yeah,
That's what I
I
wonder,
would agree with that.
or more direct, because just the night before, and the only reason I bring this up was just the night before, I had been over at Rugby, and while we were there, which for those of you that watch the show, it's a British colony, and we had the obelisk out there at Rugby and was just asking some questions, and it did respond a couple times, and single thing it said was British oriented. It said British, pound, government, and details. And all of those things are things the people came to Rugby because of the government there in England. And it was a British colony, and pounds being British money. Now, so those things were very much related to that country. But then when we were there at the church, we were getting everything that it even said religion, everything that it was saying was religious oriented. There was no bleed over from, and you would
No,
think if it
no
was spitting out,
nonsense.
yeah, you
Yeah.
would think if it was spitting out, why would it not say British or some of that, or church related terms over at Rugby?
Yeah.
I just feel like it was very direct, and to have the two nights to compare it to was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
so do you think we start with the photos that people haven't seen before? Or do you think we talk about the episode?
Let's talk about the episode. We'll do the photos last, so we can just say, everybody. So now that we've seen that, this is what we got last time. Yeah, let's do it that way.
All right, that sounds good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, obviously we had a 3.5 hour episode, so I'm not going to necessarily pull everything, just some highlights here. And of course I wasn't able to, because this was just day before yesterday and we've been busy. I've not had a chance to review the static cameras or to go back and rewatch the entire episode. So I'm just pulling a few things up, but if when we go through this, if I don't pull up something that you and I talked about, then, or that you'd like to talk about, let me know and I can find that in the episode. Same with you all over in the chat room. If there's somewhere in particular you want me to pull up, just mention it over there, because I know a lot of people that's on here watch that night. So
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, and everybody was pretty interactive. So I'm interested to hear if the questions and thoughts everybody else had too.
Yeah.
So because it was so interactive, it was pretty good.
Absolutely. Now my heater sound isn't messing with you. Can you hear that hum? Is that too loud?
I can't hear anything.
Okay. Got a heater running here. So, all right. So the first one I'm going to pull up. Well, and I think it's interesting to note, and I said a little bit of this before you popped on, but I wanted to kind of mention it with you here. So we had the option of going mock funeral, mock church service.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know why. That's why I sort of leaned toward in the beginning was just doing, because before I went in, I was actually thinking, oh, we're probably going to do a mock funeral.
Me too. Because that's what we did the first time and got what we did without any equipment.
Exactly.
But definitely as we got there, and then just being there, even when before we started the live, I kind of started changing my mind. And then it was like, there was one point I was like, no, we have to do a sermon. Like it just, it was like I could hear a voice like, do a sermon. So I was like, yeah, but no, we got to do a sermon instead of the other. It's got to go that way.
I'm so glad we went that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So we decided to do a sermon, and we kind of opened it. I believe it was Sonia or Bob, I can't remember exactly who, suggested that we start with a prayer. And so we opened it just like a traditional Baptist service. And I'll go ahead and pull this up. So let me
The one that we butchered? Is that the one? That's the one?
I didn't think we butchered it. Let's see here. Okay, so
No, we did okay. You know.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up.
Yeah. So if you turn out the flashlight, we'll ask yes, no questions, and you can turn it on for yes and off for no. We also have a light back here on the pulpit here. We've got a light there for the preacher. We've also got a set of trip lights up here on the stage. So something kind of cool was happening earlier. I was singing one of my favorite hymns, and when I got to the chorus, it was actually the light was turning on to the beat and singing the bass or the alto part of the song, which was kind of cool. So I think our first suggestion here. Yeah, go ahead and reset that. So our first suggestion here is to say, "The Lord is my shepherd." I think it'd probably be a cool idea to open the church service here with prayer. And I'm going to just kind of step up here. We've got some lights put in different places. If you have any prayer requests, if you wouldn't mind turning your light on. Oh, look at that. Light in the very back just turned on with a prayer request. Thank you. In the very back. Okay, that was cool.
Excited.
Yeah, that was neat.
Okay, that was cool. That was cool. Intelligent response there. Okay, thank you.
Any other prayer requests?
If there's any other prayer requests in here, can you turn your flashlight on? Oh, that's just too cool. Nice. So
Once you've answered, you can turn your flashlight off. Thank you. In the back.
thank you. So you've got a prayer request too?
Any unspoken prayer requests?
And y'all remember this guy, because this is going to play into what we talk about.
Does anybody over at the piano have a prayer request?
Show here.
All right. Thank you. So, now, so I thought that was really intelligent and spot on.
Yes.
With that, because the guy in the back, like that was just that time and one other time that he actually responded.
Yeah, and it was interesting what he responded to. He asked for prayer, and then we also did a call for anybody to come up, if they felt called to, and then he responded to, afterwards. We got that, that crazy feeling, and then he responded afterwards, or that person, I'm calling it he, but he or she responded afterwards.
Yeah, did a total altar call.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So being able to connect those two, responding to coming to the baptism. So that was just almost too. I mean, definitely too. What do you call it? Coincidental.
Yeah, it was too spot on, I think, to be coincidental. Yeah, both of them, both of those times.
Especially since that's the only thing they responded to. Yeah.
And if I can find that in part before the end of the show there, we'll pull that up. But what she was referring to on the baptism is we got the word creek. And so, of course, they would have had their baptisms in either the creek or the river at that point in time. So we started asking. We said, hey, there'll be a baptism next week. And when we were asking if on the altar call, if he was going to come to the baptism, that's the one time that other light back there lit up, which was cool. Yeah. So we did our Lord's Prayer, which we butchered, we did.
I just got all tongue, and I was like, I got embarrassed as a Baptist not being able
I know, right? Right.
It was not that. It just left my mind. I don't know. I got tongue tied, and then it was just like we got flustered, and then we was like, eh. So then I just drew a blank. I was like,
Well, I
man,
was the
this
same
is not
way.
going well. They're going to boot us out.
If you were to ask me to do the Lord's Prayer now, it's like, okay, fine. But if you'd asked me to do it there online, it's like, oh, don't ask me to memorize something. I might as well have been saying the books of the Bible in order. Or
Well, we were singing hymnals from memory before.
That's true.
I mean, of course, maybe that's why they don't let, I could hear the spirits now. Like, this is why we don't let women be preachers.
Well, and what's funny about when we were singing beforehand was there was a couple songs that was like, how you'll be singing it and then there'll be like maybe like a phrase that you don't remember, and so you kind of like and so I did that a couple times, and it seemed like every time I didn't know the words, the light on the piano would light up and was sitting there pulsating, and it's like they were either singing it for me or they were chastising me for not knowing the words. So I thought that was kind of neat. But it's funny to give personality and stuff to the responses, but you can see it. You can see some of this personality in these responses we were getting. We're going to definitely show this here in a little bit. Sonia says she loved the SLS capture, which I thought that was pretty neat too. The next one, let's see, we were calling out some different songs, and I thought that you guys gave some really good suggestions on songs. And so let's see here. I'm just going to pull this up. They seem to respond very well to the songs.
Now, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but we're playing the Old Rugged Cross. So I want to play it kind of low just because I don't want to get flagged for copyright. Are you playing along on the piano? If you like that song, can you flash the light for me? Thank you. Oh, look at that. It's flashing it. Can you make it real bright? Oh, thank you. Did you like playing piano at church? This one flashed. Do you want to come up here and sing with us?
I keep forgetting I was
It's
sitting
flashing. This one's flashing to the beat.
That one was neat, I thought, because it was almost like they were singing along.
You like sitting in the middle of the church?
From the pew.
Yeah, that one was definitely going with the beat. I don't know if you could. I could see it. I could see the light on the back of the pew.
Uh-huh.
Do we have any guitar players in here
So I
that
don't
played
know if
along with the
it's
piano?
in front of it, going along with the music. Of
Yeah.
course, like me sitting back there, you couldn't hear the music, but it was definitely flashing to the music. But he kept his light on pretty much all night, which so did the person at the piano.
Yeah, and that is true. The piano player kept giving me a hard time, and I mean, she was very chatty.
And I think we know why now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're going to tell you what we can tell you. But I mean, we were able to identify this woman. The Ovilus identified this woman And I mean, I'm speechless about the whole thing, but we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Let's see. And Bob says, I think it's important to note that the lights didn't flash all the time, only at certain important times.
Yes.
It is. So again, the flashlights or the torch experiment or whatever you want to call it, that is a very controversial tool, as tools have evolved over time. I know a lot of people don't always use those. I like to use them in new places, but I like to use a lot of discernment when we're using them. And that's a very important thing to note. They didn't sit there just randomly flashing on and off like, oh, yeah, this turned on 5 minutes after I asked a question. These were spot on.
Yeah, they were pretty quick to answer, definitely.
And there were times, nothing at all. I mean, I don't know how to explain that one in the back. That's not random.
They asked for prayer, and then in the middle, when we asked, when we did the call, but then we felt like somebody came up and with a heavy heart, and we had that emotional feeling of energy, and then them saying, "Yeah, I'll be at the baptism."
Yeah,
that was crazy. So I really I thought that was great.
Yeah,
great.
And that's a good point, Bob. I appreciate you bringing that up, because if you're just watching these little snippets, you can think, oh, well, we're just picking the ones and pulling out where they were flashing on and off. I mean, and even that, I thought that was cool where the flashlight was on, but it's like, make it, flash that multiple times for me if you like that song. And it instantly started flashing, which was pretty cool. Let's see. Trying to think what this one is that I marked. We'll just.
And sometimes I've noticed too, like if I have a flashlight that stays on all the time, that's usually that spirit's trying to get my attention for some reason, or they want all the attention, trying to get my attention, or I get good EVPs when a flashlight's on there because they are wanting to talk. And so they're keeping that flashlight on. So I end up capturing EVPs. So it'd be great to review the static footage to see if we can get any of those.
Absolutely. And two, I just totally lost it. Totally lost what I was going to say. I didn't mean to interrupt you with that.
Oh, you didn't interrupt me.
I just totally lost my point there. But you're right that they do tend to seem. Oh, I know what I was going to say. When you have multiple things going at once, multiple tools corroborating each other, with the EDI going off, or with different tools going off at the same time, like you say, getting EVPs whenever the flashlight is on. It's almost like a connection trying to be made.
Because you'll ask them to turn it off and they'll leave it on, and that's when I find that they're leaving it on because they have something to say. So definitely you want to look for EVPs during that time. And then like the other one that was a man on the left, and we call him a he because we actually made contact the last time we were there with him, and he was very adamant that we sat with him there, and he kept drawing us to that pew the last time we were there. So I think he was doing the same thing this time. I think that's why his light was on, and he would just flash it for a response instead of turning it off. He was like, pay attention to me. He said, me, like, look over here, listen to me, kind of thing.
Okay, so I don't have good notes with this one about the flashlight coming on, so I'm just going to play this and we'll see what happens. Let's see here.
Though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believeth thou this? So the Bible is telling us to believe that there is life beyond death. Life is a gift from God. Genesis 2:7 says, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. God himself is the source of all life. We are not here by chance. Your breath is not your own. It is on loan from God. Every heartbeat is grace. And I think we can all relate to that. Every day is a blessing. Every day you have with loved ones is a gift. And it's by his grace that we get to have another day. Death is an appointment, not a tragedy. Hebrews 9:27 reminds us, and as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. Death is not a punishment for the believer. It is a passage. While we mourn, God sees death as the gathering of his children. For the faithful, it is not the end, it is a new beginning. Jesus Christ conquered death. Through the cross and the empty tomb, Jesus removed the sting of death. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 55 through 57 says, O death, why is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, but thanks be to God, which give us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Because he who lives,
amen there.
we shall also live. Because he lives, we should also live. Because he lives, we also shall live.
And see, so I wanted to show that because one, I wanted to show that the flashlights were off. They weren't just random.
Mhm.
And I think that was neat because certain things, certain points you would hit on, you would get like this quick, just a little snap of a light.
Just
which
like in
to
a
me-
service when people shout out amen, when it touches them,
Or, and if you
or
have,
whatever the response is, whether they're saying amen or hallelujah or whatever.
or yes, or sometimes they're just like yes.
They're just agreeing with what the word says. Yeah.
And that's for any of you on here that hasn't been to a Southern Baptist church or possibly a Pentecostal, some of the more rural country mountain churches, that is kind of a big thing. That you will have, as we'd call it, the Amen choir in there and sometimes it's just a matter of they just raise their hand, but it's in agreement. And I think that the reason I wanted to show that was because they were off. It wasn't on. And it really was when there was key points you would say, it was literally just a quick response like that, which I thought was neat.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm not sure. I know we got a couple more words. I'm just going to play just a few more minutes of that, or maybe not a few more minutes, but just a few more seconds of that.
Thank you.
Get an amen over there. That flashlight keeps coming on.
Yeah, it's his sacrifice and grace and forgiveness that gives us.
Hey, so we got a couple words. Not to interrupt.
Nope.
Plan. You were just talking about God's plan.
Divine plan. Yeah.
Hobble. You're kind of hobbling over your words there at that moment. As soon as that came over. And being.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all spiritual beings, and we are. God does not reside in the church. He doesn't reside in a building. He resides within you.
Oh, wow.
That
right. Can we get an amen in the back pew? Are you still awake back there in the back? Are you a back row Christian?
See, I love that. I love how when you said he resides in you, it was just like, that was just neat. And I really like the sermon that you chose. And I just have to say you did a phenomenal job on that. And it was very fitting.
I thought it was fitting, to talk about living and death and, bring up some of the major key points, what God says about life and death, because it was a church and it was a funeral home. So the life and death sermon just kind of seemed to fit. If we were going to do a sermon, it seemed to fit.
Yeah, it was perfect. And I mean, that was perfect, doing what you were called to do in that moment. Bob says the vestibule I can't talk. The vestibule gave him the creeps all night long. He kept seeing weird shadows out there, which could be some play from the cars going back and forth.
Yeah.
But Tiffany brought up a good point. We left that light on in there just so we didn't get. We thought that it might kind of help protect the inside of the sanctuary there from getting lights from the passing cars.
And it seemed to work. Yeah.
It did. And Dee Dee says, yes, I agree. Should stir up some emotions. Sonia says, Tiffany did a great sermon.
Thank you, Sonia.
And Dee Dee says, so spirits seem to still have emotions. That's an interesting point.
I agree 100% with that statement.
Yeah. It. I have to agree. I mean, personally, I think so too. And what an emotional place when you're talking about it as a funeral home or even as a church.
Yes.
Because you're gonna have. I mean, weddings were performed here, baptisms, dedications of children, people dedicating their lives, celebrations,
bread,
Yeah. So, and even as a meeting house, I mean, a lot of the time, early on, the churches served as meeting houses for the community. So, I mean, it was truly a gathering spot for people of the community, and especially in the area that this church is in.
Back then, the churches were the community. They were the hub of the community.
Absolutely. And
I love this.
Shane says, you come to church hobbled with sin and leave as a new person.
So that was a great take on that word. That didn't come to me, but that's,
Me either. And especially that said being afterwards, too.
Yeah.
So that, again, I can't get over how spot on the obelisk was.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to show, let me find this. So Sonia mentioned, she mentioned the SLS.
And I'm looking forward to seeing this because I knew you were getting something, but I didn't see what you were getting. I didn't hear what y'all were talking about, so I haven't seen it either.
So it's pretty cool.
There was something there.
I'm going to jump back just
right where
there we go.
But you trust in him that he is going to take care of you, and you have the promise of eternal life in exchange for your blind faith and trust in him.
Look at that. Oh, it went away. There was something there.
There was.
Right where the flashlight was, there was.
And again, those two tools working together.
Are you having a hard time?
I don't think all the time using the SLS, I've seen one sitting
space that you're in
like that.
No. It's like it's literally sitting
in the pew. I mean, yeah, especially that first capture. It was literally sitting in the pew. That's
maybe not in time.
And again, it's right there where the flashlight is.
That's over there with the flashlight.
You want quite a bit, cool. I just wonder why you're here. Are you afraid to?
And a lot of people
don't take that next step and cross over?
They're meant to be used.
Do what now?
Not walking around with them. You're supposed to put them stationary, so that way that it picks up the environment and it settles into the environment. Mm-hmm. That way, if anything disturbs it, because as you're walking around, it's going to continue to like map over and over and over. If you stabilize it and set it still, it's going to eliminate anything that it maps as it perceives as human. And so when something does come in that looks like a human, that just leads more credence to what you're catching when it's been sitting stable and it's already mapped that area over and over and over and not captured anything that it deemed human form. And now it's got that. So I think that just leads it even more toward the evidence of,
Well, and that's what we did on that. We specifically, instead of standing there, specifically wanted to put it on a tripod and just have it sitting there mapping it out. So, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it's not like we're moving around. And what I liked about doing it there in that room and having it facing that way rather than having it facing the stage, had we had it facing the stage, it could have probably mapped the podium because it would have had the form to form a person, or mapped one of the areas up there where the archways were. Yeah. And this, I mean, you would think if it was going to do a false map of something,
of a
it's
person
not going to have anything. It would do a doorway.
Yeah, or it would have done more people in the pews.
Mm-hmm.
If it was going to catch something like that. So, yeah. This is neat. I didn't get to see this. I didn't get to see what y'all were seeing. And so that's a neat, I like that.
Yeah. And Bob says, let me pull you up whenever I don't have this sitting right here. Cause let me see if this plays anymore. And then we'll pull that up because that's a good point.
Not worthy.
And then it goes away.
And I'll tell you what, none of us are worthy. We are born unworthy. But through his forgiveness, even though we are unworthy,
like it's gone now,
we still can have everlasting life. So if you feel unworthy, please don't. None of us are worthy of.
So the way that reacted, I thought that was pretty neat.
Did you see something crawling across the floor there?
Let's see.
And love that God bestows upon us, but he gives it freely. As long as you freely give your
crazy, that keeps going.
And your trust in him. And
was that James?
Your trust to walk the path that he wants.
Bob said that.
Oh, Bob said that.
Yeah.
I just seen somebody's comment come up saying, I seen something crawl across the floor.
Yeah, that's what Bob said on there, was that
Okay.
it looked like something had crawled across the floor there, which we need to go back and see. Were you meaning, Bob, on the SLS, or did you mean like on the actual floor? So let me know. And he says, agreed, it really bugs me when I see people walking around with the SLS. Yeah. And I don't know how people do it for long periods of time because my SLS is heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy and clunky and awkward, but yeah, no, it's and I'll be the first one to admit the first one I ever got to use, that actually wasn't mine, but the first one I got to use, I walked around with it too, but that's where you learn to use your equipment,
I did the same thing.
To learn how to use it,
I have episodes where I did that, and
then you learn
right quick.
And you learn your equipment. You learn that some things, a flashlight will set something off, and you say, okay, so I know that these things will set this piece of equipment off, and you can add those as controls, and eliminate
walkie-talkies.
Yeah, issues.
Yeah, and he was referring to the SLS.
Oh, okay.
Okay, interesting.
Definitely that.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Okay, so the next one was when we kind of started really getting some good responses on the Ovilus there. So let me just go right here. And this is going to be a little bit of a longer clip, but we'll
it was 31 degrees when she was baptized. Ooh, Nancy.
Okay, so we had gotten that about the creek before that on the Ovilus, and we were talking about baptizing.
Yeah, piano player is spot on with those questions.
I could have probably jumped back a little bit further, but I thought this was pretty interesting.
All right, we got a question here while that's playing. Good question, Chris. Can you give me a name of someone in the cemetery? Can you use this box to give us a name of someone in the cemetery? We'll get the spirit box in a few. Oh, something and monument.
And there you can see creek on there as
Okay. Blind. Isn't there, I once was blind, but now I see.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
well. Yeah, and Baptist.
But
Nice.
what did you ask before? What was you talking
I
about?
asked if there was someone, if they could give us a name of someone in the cemetery, and it said something and monument. All right.
Well, we'll have to check out the monuments out there and see if is there one in particular? You'll keep talking on this box. That's great. Is there a particular monument you want us to see?
Birds and starve.
Birds and stars.
So I wonder if there's a monument out there that's got birds on it.
Yeah. Stars.
Starve was what it said.
Oh, stars.
Safe.
So,
So we'll look out there at the monuments and see if there's one that's got birds on it. Well, now actually, bird is a kind of a big last name in this area too.
okay.
Oh, piano just lit up. So it could actually be a last name. There could be birds on the monument, or it could be the last name Bird. Because that,
I definitely that's for the name Steve, Stephen.
Okay. So, so this is mind blowing to me.
My favorite thing to get on an investigation. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we, how cool is that it said, started talking about monuments after Chris asked if they could give us information about someone buried over in the cemetery.
Yeah, and it was quick responses. It wasn't really delayed. And then, when I was like, could you give us a name, a particular monument? And it sure did.
Yeah. And so I'm going to play just a little bit more. And then piano also starts lighting up as soon as we said Bird is a common last name in that area where that church is. The piano player instantly was lighting up. So let me just go just a little bit further.
hey, Robert. Robert's investigating the Benton Homestead. Oh, that's a great farm up there. And then in Tolland, Connecticut right now and on break. Thank you for tuning in during your break. We appreciate that. Let's see. Chris says, there are birds in the cemetery. Perfect. Great question. Great response. I mean,
You talk to that box and give us a first name?
can you give us a first name?
First name monument. So it's gotta be
Probably. Okay, so Michael says, if it's a name, can you give a location, like a row? Can you tell us what part of the cemetery we need to go look? Can you give us some kind of detail about it?
Well, that's a great question. Around here, lots of times we
Yeah.
we don't have rows, and it's not the cemeteries are not plotted out in rows and numbers, and you don't have maps. You just got to find the grave you're looking for. Most of these are family graveyards.
Those and L.
Even the ones connected to the church, they're
This
private
is
family graveyards.
this is those and L. So L could be the first name. L could also be that could also be the direction too. It could also be like an L shape.
Yeah.
So we were looking at any option as to what that could be, but
Yeah.
we were literally able to determine.
And speaking of back to the organization of the cemetery or the graveyard, as I was walking through it, there are some buried forwards and backwards, and so I mean, our graveyards and our cemeteries can be hard to navigate and find what you're looking for.
And they don't tend to. Some of them don't tend to go in the direction of a traditional Christian cemetery of head to the west, feet to the east.
Yeah.
Either. So.
Yeah, I think geography lends to some of those problems too. You know, or some of the reasons why.
Yeah.
Why they're buried the way they are.
Yeah.
Everything,
that's very true.
We our steep hollers and stuff like that, and we have a lot of cemeteries that are on the side of a mountain, just like this, and so you just kind of gotta go with what you got.
This is true. Now, so because this became a longer session, so I'm not going to necessarily pull up the remainder of this section, but as we went through, so we got L. And that's really significant. So there are two possibilities that this could be. So Chris was doing some research there on the other side of things, or from the other side of the computer, I guess we could say. And she found that there was an elven bird there inside the cemetery. Mm-hmm. So Tiffany goes graveyard. We're in a graveyard since it's attached to a church there. So so Tiffany goes out and confirms that there was indeed an elven bird inside of the graveyard there.
And then right next to him was Elvin Bird Jr., his son.
Yeah.
So there were two. So
yeah. And
so that could have been those.
Yeah, that could have been those.
Yeah.
Now, as we went throughout, and like I said, I'm slow to use my words because I don't want to necessarily give a whole lot away.
But we want to protect the privacy.
Yeah.
Of what we found because it's recent. We don't want to offend anyone because it's definitely not our intention. It's just information that we stumbled upon, and I mean it fits. And at the end, she actually. Okay, so we figured out the light was the pianist at the church.
Yeah.
And she even gave us her
entire. She gave us her
entire name.
The L is the middle initial of the name. Bird was the last name. The L was the initial, and at the very end, she
She gave us her first name.
She gave her entire first name on the obelisk, and it fit. It fit, and we found the obituary, and in the obituary it said one of her favorite things was she played the piano at this church.
Yeah. Do you want me to quote a little piece?
Don't say the name of the church.
No.
If you don't mind, because I know it says it in the obituary.
She blessed her congregation joyfully by playing piano, organ, and singing in the church. She loved her church.
Yeah. I mean, I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I was talking to
Which makes sense why she was so on us if we messed up something, and she was definitely with us with the music, and she was so chatty and so into it. I mean, from reading the obituary and how much she was involved in and loved this church and the congregation, and then as active as it was there with her, and to get her name.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we were both like, what?
And the way we found out was really surprising, because I was having a phone conversation with somebody who, and at some point I'll reveal the entire details, just because, again, like Tiffany said, to respect the privacy and stuff.
It was this has been something very recent, so we definitely don't want to,
no,
do anything to offend or people
upset,
that are still grieving and things like that. So
yeah. And so but was talking to someone, and they just happened to say, oh well, I remember so and so played the piano at the church. And I said, wait, that last name? And they said, yeah. And then they said,
she kept trying to remember her first name. And then she's like, oh, I think it's this. And then I found the name about the same time on Ancestry. And I was like, no way.
and said, and it's a name, like my name's Miranda Jo. And so, it's one of those names that has that goes together, and the L goes with that name, and so it's like, well, that explains why we got the L. So they could have been referring to someone in the cemetery, because we ask about the monument. But it's interesting that as soon as we said that last name, the piano was like, oh, hey.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
So I don't know. It was just, I've never had, except for one other investigation, which would have been at that antique store there in North Georgia, where we validated in the moment. I've never had something that we've been able to, on a live, actually validate, and then the day after actually get a full name that the obelisk gave us the entire name. To me, blew my mind.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about investigating. And in my early days at my location, we had no information, and that's how we had to go in. We had to investigate, and we had to take what we got and then go search that and find it and validate what we were being told. And that was just so neat to me. So I still love that feeling of being able to validate things during, it's awesome to be able to do it during the live, and I still get just as excited validating it the next day or 2 days later, however long it takes you to dig through the research. It's one of my favorite things to do, to get that activity and then go back and validate that. And it just, makes me so excited. I love it.
Well, and so what's your thoughts on that? So for me, I think that just goes to show and goes to prove, because I don't know, since this location had been closed for a while, especially as a church, obviously I don't feel like this or any of the others are a trap spirit. I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
I feel like, for me, I think this just goes to show that we do drop energy when you're putting energy into something, especially something you love. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be practicing the piano. You're going to be playing it as, every Sunday. And of course, you as a musician knows I'm a piano player. You play guitar. There's a lot of passion and a lot of a person's self that goes into this. And
Yeah.
so to me, I mean, yeah, you got preachers that are up preaching and that sort of thing,
But
but to
she's
me,
literally pouring herself into
exactly,
every service.
exactly.
And, and then for them to specifically talk about how much, that she did that, how much she loved it. It just, yeah, I mean, and you go back to the trapped souls, the person in the back that asked for prayer and then wanted to come to the baptism. I don't feel that as a trapped soul. I feel that as someone who maybe passed away and maybe didn't know Christ or whatever, and they're at the church seeking answers. Maybe their spirit is there seeking answers, and they took us up on what we were offering for them. So I don't feel like they were trapped either. I definitely don't feel like this was a situation of trapped spirits. I think this was a definitely lost spirits looking for a place, and people that were either returning to something they loved, and while waiting on Judgment Day, that's where she wants to be, behind her piano in her church, waiting on God, So, or just so much of her energy put into that essence of her energy is left there. But it being so intelligent, I just lean more to her just sitting there playing her piano for Jesus, waiting on them to come and take her, so waiting on Judgment Day like the rest of us. So, and of course we can get real deep into the Bible and debate that. Everybody has a different opinion on that. That's my take. So, feel free to agree to disagree with that. But no, definitely, however you want to look at it. Yeah. I mean,
But I feel that was definitely, you could see where
it was
energy
her
would be
essence or
left
something. Yes.
in that, especially with that passion. And thank you, Angela. It did seem like and that's what I liked about that investigation is it did seem very comfortable with,
I was comfortable
and positive
and welcoming, and just like church, it felt welcoming, comfortable, encouraging. Like I had all those feelings, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Bob says, when a location doesn't get visited often, I think the spirits get excited when someone does come a calling. Guess we all get lonely, even spirits. Well, and when somebody's actively going in and talking to them, I mean, that's kind of my theory about some of these places where people, all too often you hear some people who work in a location that is rumored to be active. They'll say, well, back over here, this happens, and I don't go over here, or I don't go upstairs because the last couple times I went up there, all of this started happening. And so I think it's kind of like, I'm not saying we train them how to respond or anything like that, but I feel like if you're in a place and people are constantly leaving because you're interacting with them, maybe they're not going to interact as much whenever you have a paranormal team come in or something. Because they're like, well, when I do this, when I move something, when I speak, when I do something, people tend to run away or tend to leave, so maybe I won't be responsive. But then when somebody comes in and they're like, hey, I want to have a conversation with you, here's some ways
Somebody actually interacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that's possible. We've got Isaac, JIPS Investigations from Jacksonboro, Jacksboro, can't even talk, watching tonight. Hey, Isaac, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, it's
And to speak on that more, I mean, yeah, I think that they do get lonely and they do want to talk, because my belief is, that they're in a state of rest, but not rest as how you and I think. I mean, the Bible tells us if you pass before Judgment Day, you'll sleep until the Lord returns and raises you from the dead. Through the translations, that actually mean, asleep. No, I think it just means a rest from life. You're in a state of rest, and just I hate to use the word purgatory, but and each person's purgatory is probably different depending on what you believed and how you lived before you died. Your purgatory can be a scary place, or it could be a wonderful place where you're waiting because God's coming to raise you. So that's my belief of where people go once they pass, and there's this holding spot, if you will, and it is like a rest, and and he says it will be, you'll in the blink of an eye. The blink of an eye is, time is man-made. So the blink of an eye, we don't even know we couldn't even imagine what he meant by blink of an eye, because time is a man-made thing. And, you can even speak with the spirits and tell that time is so different to them than to us. So to them, it may be a blink of an eye that they're in that, when Judgment Day comes, it may be a blink of an eye to them. They may feel like they haven't been there, or maybe they feel like they've been there a little while, but it's still, they're there, and maybe they're, they are lonely, want to talk, or they see people that interact with them, and they're like, hey, let me tell you what it's like waiting, or you have the other one that, was lost, and we offered them a way, to not be, like, hey, Judgment Day hasn't happened yet. You just keep working on that other side to, keep, ask God for forgiveness. And, is it too late for them? I don't think so.
I mean, it's all interesting questions.
Yeah. We could theorize all day. This episode was just so spiritual and enlightening, and in my mind confirmed some of my beliefs, challenged some of my beliefs, and just was such a different investigation from any that I've had.
Yeah.
I think for me, and I've investigated a lot of churches too, but this one was just, yeah.
I enjoy churches.
Smiling really since this investigation. It just, and maybe we needed this, because I've had so much peace since we've had this investigation. And after all the turmoil, maybe we needed this peace.
Yeah, because that was a weird kind of a juxtaposition to both of them, when you have the intense just mind warp that was the episode 2 there in the Cleveland metal foundry, of just so much confusion, and honestly for me, so much unrest. Literally, I couldn't sleep for a week afterwards,
which is very rare for something to stick with me afterwards.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say, Isaac, I appreciate your comments over there. I know you're talking about some different investigations there. So if you have any questions about tonight's episode, definitely put those in there. But I know you're talking about a bunch of different things you've experienced there, and I apologize we're not able to get to that. But anyways, yeah, I think that is just a really good way to in this one because it is so different than the other, just the feeling that we had afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I know we're still trying to figure out and still running some tests and such to.
Yeah, that one is not going to go away anytime soon.
No.
So we're going to be on that one for a while.
Yeah. So, I don't have any other timestamps on this as far as what we've talked about. I know we continued on upstairs there. Tiffany dismissed
Dismiss service and send everybody home.
And everybody actually went home except for the piano player.
Because we didn't get nothing.
No, it was like as soon as, so we did an altar call, and that was when.
That was emotional. That altar call was emotional. It was.
And I'm wondering, I need to see when that was. Let's see. Yeah, we're not going to get into red ash or anything like that at this time. You know, I see a question about that, but let me, because red ash is a whole other conversation, that's a whole other episode on its own. There's a lot of tall tales and stuff associated with that. Let me find it here. Trying to remember when we did the altar call. Let me just see where this one is at.
I did hear that noise.
Let me see.
There, and she said that that kind of lends to the fact that it probably was a name rather than an actual animal.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And Angela says this is her first time watching something like that. Any of those lights right there again on the floor. I say, so we're an hour and 44 minutes in. I probably need to plug this phone in. I've had a lot of battery. I got it real excited there for a minute.
I was just skipping a little bit to see. I don't know if we've already done it or not.
I mean, I was getting ready to say, or if you want to talk biblical, I mean, it's talking about the.
Was that what you were before?
Yeah.
That was before this. Yeah.
That was before this.
This was at the end. Yeah.
Let's see here.
I didn't see anything like that. I didn't cross the road and see the other.
Yeah.
Okay, that's when you came.
Yeah, there was an Elvin and then an Elvin.
I think, yeah.
Was it? So we did the altar call before?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it was during the sermon part.
When we were talking.
Are you still wanting someone to pray for you? Piano lit up. If you're still wanting someone to pray for you, if there's still someone in here that needs prayers, because this is what the ovilist said. If there's someone here that needs prayers.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Can you light up the light on the floor there?
Yeah, I need to pull the. Actually go in and pull the word bank, the listing of everything. Because, I mean, it even said religion. On this one, it said prayers, like it was still wanting prayer.
Can anybody else turn their light on? And let their light shine?
I think this was when you were outside. I'm not going to just search through there because I didn't make it through all of it. But we were talking about doing Sunday, the eating on the ground, bringing a covered dish. We talked about that.
Yeah, having a picnic after the baptism.
Yeah, and they started lighting up when we talked about certain food. And then like you said, when we ended it with an altar call, and that somebody still wanted prayers, they said they were going to come to the baptism, and then everybody left.
And yeah, they did. When I dismissed everybody, they left. We didn't get nothing else after that, which was interesting. And what I do plan to go be at the baptismal area that I had in mind on Sunday, just to see, because I said it. So I'm just gonna see if they'll show up.
Well, that's cool. That would be cool.
So if so, I'll update you, and you can update everybody else.
All
and
right.
if you're free from work, you can go with me. But I do plan on it's so much closer to me. So I plan, it's just a hop, skip, and jump for me. So I plan to go there, and where I had in mind and said that I would be at. And I mean, you know, I don't care to put that out there because nobody knows where I'm talking about. Good luck. Good luck trying to find me in the mountains up back here. But I did have a specific place, so I'm going to take some stuff and just see if I get anything from there. See if somebody shows up for an actual baptism. I'm going to be interested to see.
Right.
So I'll video that and try to document it really well.
Nice. Let me find. I'm looking for. So I say we go to. We're at 10:30 now. I say we go to the pictures. Trying to find.
Yeah, because we didn't get nothing downstairs.
No.
And but we did get a heavy feeling, and maybe a feeling of, I mean, there was definitely a few little creep factors for me that were going on down there, and some negativity. But Miranda and I were discussing it, and to me, you've got the joy and elation and praise, and you know, all this of the church service and the energy of that, and then you have the energy of the sorrow and the grief from the funeral home services. It would make sense to me that the positivity would rise and force any negative energy, residual energy, to the bottom, you know, and that the positive would overtake the negative. And so I think that's why we didn't really get anything down there. We were getting such positive activity. It was just stifling out any kind of negative energy that was even trying to manifest. And not that there's anything negative there, but there's obviously the essence of negative energy. And so even the feeling of that, I think all that positivity was just drowning it out. And so we definitely didn't get nothing downstairs.
No.
Which was a whole different case from the last visit, the first visit. It was a whole different feeling.
Yeah. And so
so
we mentioned a little bit about that on the first episode. I mean, on the actual episode, we were talking about how and why we were there. So it really was, when we did it back in July, it was really just an impromptu thing. We didn't have any equipment with us other than our recorders. You know, it was just, you know,
us and a phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we even have a flashlight? I don't even know if
No, we didn't have a flashlight. So I do want to pull up, Tiffany took a lot of pictures. And so I do want to pull up, let me just go to, I was trying to, there we go. Okay. So this was one of the pictures. So we were getting ready to leave, and this was a picture of, we're standing at the door. You took a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And
I typically take 3 at a time. So yeah, she's looking through a lot of pictures, guys.
yeah. So, let's just see if I can pull up the whole app. That doesn't do anything. It just shifts it. So I'm going to kind of zoom in on this so you can see it here. The area to focus on. So she's standing in the back of the sanctuary there. There's the stage, the room over to the right. So that's the door that goes back. Of course, you got the piano over here on the left. You got the room over here on the right that goes back to the back. That has the room where the um, uh, funeral offices and casket room was located at.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look there, the next picture, let me pull that up. I should have just pulled up image instead of sharing. There we go. Oh, whoops. That would have been easier to pull the image up instead of doing it this way.
Sorry.
No, it's me. It's all me. Now,
This was the next picture in the sequence.
see back there at the door? I mean, what is that?
Yeah, right.
Is
And
that
the following picture, there's nothing there.
no? I mean, is that somebody carrying something? Or, I mean, they almost look like they're floating.
Yeah. Like half a person.
Yeah.
So definitely odd. And when I take my pictures, it's 1, 2, 3. I don't move. I always take 3 pictures, one before, so that way, if I catch an anomaly, I've got 2 other pictures to compare that anomaly to.
Yeah.
And I have the metadata for the pictures too, that are time stamped and dated, and can show you they're one right after the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I looked, I was like, "What is that?"
And see, that night we didn't even go over there.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, I was just gonna say we didn't even go over there till it was almost midnight.
Yeah, and I actually have other pictures with Miranda standing there in that area, and you can see the difference in her standing there. An actual person looks nothing like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a shadow, but then it almost kind of has a little bit of dimension to it as well. Almost.
Let's see if I can zoom in any further.
I mean, and you can look at the window and the size of this thing. So, I mean, it's not like it's tiny compared to the door. I mean, it would be, the proportion would be appropriate to the door.
Yeah.
Something hooded. or I don't know. Somebody was talking about nuns. We don't have nuns in the Baptist faith.
No.
I don't know. Could that be a nun in a habit? Maybe that's why I was getting y'all nuns. Anyway, I'm not going down that thing. But I mean,
Sonia's maybe someone in a choir robe.
Yeah, choir robe. Yeah, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, who knows how and why things manifest. I mean, sometimes you're able to look at stuff and see things I mean, see objects, see people, but I don't know with that. I mean,
Yeah.
is it something in the process of manifesting?
Yeah.
Is what I wonder. It's just
Yeah.
not completely there. Yeah. I mean, it does kind of look like something in a hood.
Yeah, and like it almost looks. I'm pointing at my computer like everybody can see, but it looks like it has like something draped over the shoulder there.
Almost like a shawl.
Yeah, or something. So, I mean, or like you said, it could just look like that because it was trying to manifest, and that's as much as it got. Because I mean, I've seen with my own eyes something try to manifest in front of me and try to take shape, but it just never quite got there. So.
I mean, I don't know. It was crazy because
It's a crazy, crazy, crazy picture, crazy catch.
Yeah. Because I mean, literally, just before, again. Oops, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Well. So, I mean, it's not there.
Yeah. And we were definitely the only two people in there. Yeah, definitely weird.
Yeah. So, it was kind of funny. Let's see. Angela says, person carrying a Bible. Yeah, could be.
Could be, yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe somebody heading up to preach. It's to me it was funny that night because we got back to my house afterwards and was just looking through pictures, and you were like, what is this?
Maybe we should go back.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the only one. It's like, dang. And we weren't really asking a whole lot of. Well, we did a funeral, a mock funeral service.
Yeah.
And then during this show, when the pew that the flashlight stayed on the whole time on the left, that man, we made contact with him that night, and he wanted us there beside him, like on that pew the whole time we were there. The pew actually lifted up off the ground. I mean, it lifted up, like it made us like wobble. The chandelier started
swaying,
moving.
and it was the lights were going in and out, just
yeah. So I think that's why I say he had his light on. I think he was still doing that same thing like me. Hey, come here. So he's definitely a regular, I think.
And it was
regular attendee.
It was hot.
Yes.
And I don't know. I didn't feel like myself after a while. I was like, we need to go. I don't know if I was just hungry. I don't know if I was hot. I don't know. But I know after a while it was like, okay.
We only stayed about an hour. We didn't stay long. But what we got in that hour and what we got that night was felt more negative. Definitely. Even though, I mean, why, I don't know. Maybe because we went the funeral service direction.
It's just heavy and sad.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know.
And it could have been our state. Miranda took me in there just to kind of cheer me up. It'd been a rough week, and I just was having a rough time, and she's just trying to uplift my spirits and Ghost hunt's always good for that. And so, but you oftentimes you get out of an investigation what you take in. And so, with me being in kind of a negative space, even though I was in a good mood while we were there and all that.
Just a lot going on, kind of heavy.
Yeah, just there's just a lot going on, in my heart and in my head. And so, I had to play into it some, my energy that I brought in. So that could have been why we got some more negative feedback than, at the time. Even though I was in a good mood, subconsciously I still had that negative energy attached. So but I'm definitely, if you go into an investigation in a bad mood or with a negative outlook, you're going to get negativity in return, or you're not going to get anything. It's not going to respond to you. You got to be in a good headspace to investigate, I think. And that's why we didn't have any tools or anything with this, because we really was just going, she was just going to show me and let me check it out. We was just going to check it out, but we managed to, as we knew, get things when we went in, whether we have equipment or not. And so, it was just neat all the way around. And it was to compare the two.
That's what I was going to say, to compare the two. I mean, Angela brings up, funerals are heavy and sad. Church sermon was much happier. And I think I'm glad we went that route, because for me, and I know you're the same way, we tend to be more positive people. And we've always been the type too, that when you go into a place, that's your focus. It's nothing else. And you're right, that night that we went in there, I think that's also a good example that shows that you don't need a ton of tools to get activity. Now, maybe you need more tools if you're going to document that.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But I think that sometimes we tend to get kind of bogged down by tools or get too reliant on certain tools. I mean, the tripwire has always been a good tool for me, but we had one hit on it the whole night. I don't know what happened on the static cameras. I know what happened before we went live. I got some pretty cool hits on it but it took singing, and you're braver than I am. I'm not going to sing on a live, and you sang last week, but
it was breaking in and out. They couldn't hear me.
That's why you did it, huh? Because you knew the sound, it would only pick up so far.
Right.
But I mean, we were getting some interesting stuff whenever we were singing beforehand.
Some of the most interesting experiences I've had has been with the least amount of equipment.
Yeah.
Or no equipment. It's right as you turn everything off, and then something happens and you're like, man, Mm-hmm. So, and then I've watched a place graduate from using flashlights to where they graduated and became such a popular place to investigate that you couldn't have paid them if they took money. You couldn't have paid them to use that flashlight. They wanted to use the newer equipment. They wouldn't, whereas they would only touch a flashlight after so many years of all these different things being introduced. They found them so much easier to use than that flashlight.
Yeah,
is the way I looked at it. And they found different ways to interact, because if you're a location owner, you get to, it's nice to be able to, especially if you get a location that nobody's investigated, mm-hmm. and you spend a decade at that place and you watch the activity change from bare minimum activity, and then you finally get something that they work with, and then they just do whatever. They show up looking like mm-hmm. me and you, full blown apparitions that look like a person that you're following around thinking they broke in on you.
Do you think, I don't want to interrupt, but it kind of got me to thinking, do you think, so how we get excited and we react to certain things. Mm-hmm. And so while tools have evolved over time, I feel like and maybe some of the investigators in the comments have some thoughts on it too, but our style of investigating also evolves. And so maybe if you take the flashlight as being a controversial tool, and it's like, oh, they're just turning the flashlight on and off, this and that. And do you think if they are experiencing us like we're experiencing them, and they're aware and they're intelligent, if we're not reacting to the response like we used to,
We get
or
so
like they
used
would
to
think,
it.
yeah, that it's like, do you
They're
think
like,
that
okay,
that maybe they're like,
now I need to do something bigger, better.
yeah, or that maybe even not bigger, but we're discounting these subtle responses? Do you think that maybe
I
they
see where you're going.
evolve? Yeah, that maybe they evolve because our reaction isn't big enough. Do you think they're feeding off of our reaction? I'm probably not asking the question right.
No, I think I see where you're going, the whole triangle there. Yeah. We've gotten so used to them turning on a flashlight that when they turn it on, oh, okay, yeah, they turned on a flashlight as investigators, especially in the same place over and over and over. Yeah, we get the same activity every time we turn around. Yeah, okay. And then, so they feed off our energy too. So if we're not putting out that excited, positive energy, and so are they going to be reluctant to interact if we're making it more of a chore than an interaction, or expecting it?
Yeah, or
are we
even
overlooking it as, should we stop being so blasé about something that used to be so exciting? I mean, look at this. This episode is, I felt like a new investigator with the flashlights going on and off, when after, 20 years, a flashlight goes off and I'm like, okay, but you have a great point. I think you do get into a hole and you get into your routine and how you like to investigate. But I also think that the spirits evolve with the equipment as well too. They evolve to where they're like, well, I can do more than turn on this flashlight.
Right.
I can show you more.
And not
So
even
give me
just
something else to work with.
And not even just that, giving them something else to work with, but like because of the way we react to it. So if you have someone in there, Bob says on here, he says that he was never a big flashlight guy, but I made him a believer. And Bob wasn't. Bob said that from the beginning until we did our poker game there. Even Brandon Cooper was even the same way. So
yeah, I've had a lot of people say the same.
Yeah.
Till they come up to Brushy and they're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So let's take that. I get excited every time a flashlight turns on if it's indirect response. Okay.
Yes.
So say we have that tool. Well, you get someone like Bob or somebody that is maybe not so much a believer in the flashlights, and they come in and the spirit's like, hey, I'm turning my flashlight on. I'm turning this on. But the investigator is not reacting in that, oh yeah, I get that you're communicating with me.
Yeah.
And they're discounting it. So do you think that maybe because of our reaction to some of this, that maybe, they find another way to communicate, or
especially if they want to be heard.
Yeah, or use something like the Ovilus or something. And then, we discount it. Like I might discount.
I think they learn as we learn.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think we're supposed to know. I don't think we're supposed to really ever know exactly what's on the other side. I think we can get hints and close, but I don't think that we're supposed to know. And I think that they have to learn how to communicate between the veil as well. And so as we learn, they learn. And, as we improve improve our skills and things like that, they improve their skills, and their ability. And definitely, our attitude that we go in with it, as I think plays such a huge, huge, huge role in what you get. You get back what you put into it.
And I appreciate that, Angela. And that's what we go in, we try to go in with. And so I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And, I think that goes in, I look at it.
That goes in investigation style too.
Exactly. And so I look at it as, we've said this before, you get in what you or you get out what you take in. And, anytime a spirit communicates, whether it be something subtle or something dramatic, most of the time it is something subtle. I just look at it as a blessing to have the communication.
Yeah.
And any little bit, I'm grateful for. And so I'm always trying to look for the subtleties, because a lot of the time it is something simple like that.
Yeah. Any subtle thing, anything intelligent, anything that, if they don't even touch my equipment, but they do something with something else, that's it. That's great. I just want intelligent activity. And now sometimes you have to work with that and see if you're actually getting intelligent activity. You got to rule that out too.
Absolutely. And
you're right, Linda.
And you're both. Absolutely. I agree with Linda and Angela and Bob on that. And I think that's why I try to give them as simple of a means to communicate as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that especially in a newer location like that.
Yeah.
And I do think they get, as Bob was saying, I do think they do tend to get frustrated. But I wonder sometimes, just as we're trying to trigger them and get them to respond, I just kind of wonder if our reaction to their response either, could you imagine, you're asking a question, you're trying to respond, and the person is just not getting it, or they're interpreting it the wrong way. I would imagine that would get really frustrating. If they can indeed experience those emotions, which I feel they can, I think they could get frustrated with us.
Or if they're doing something and you turn it into this blasé thing that they're doing, and they're like, but I'm communicating with you, but this isn't good enough for you. And they may just stop communicating with you.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think you can, you can turn that off too. I also think you can want it too much. You can want it too much that you push that away.
Yeah, this is a good point. A baby will fall down and look at his mom for a reaction. If the mother is horrified, the baby will start crying. But if the mother is like, get up off the floor, the baby will just get up with no fuss.
Don't pay attention to them. Don't say nothing. But if as soon as you speak to them or look at them, both my kids were the same way. Yeah, I agree. Tom. Yeah.
No, that's actually a really good point. And so we see that whenever we're doing our flashlight tours and stuff, they'll say, we'll talk about something that they've done and some of the reactions people have gotten when they're in there. And then when people get scared or people get jumpy, or when you tell it, the tools will start to go off, because they're like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. And that was something else I was thinking, like as they progress and they learn to use the bigger tools, because obviously 15 years ago, we didn't have some of the tools we got now. And so as these tools have been introduced to these places, and they're more flashy and, more, made for TV.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep.
People get so excited, and the spirits can't help but feed off of that excitement. So
Absolutely.
they're like, oh yeah, look what I just made that whole room go, oh my God, I'm going to do it again,
Uh-huh.
or I just scared the heck out of that person. I'm going to do that every time somebody comes in here. That would be me.
Yeah. Exactly.
That might be me
Exactly.
on the other side. I'm like, so.
There was something that happened. I don't know if the flashlight lit up or something happened during the church service there. And I was like, oh, yeah, look at this. And then I think it said surprise or
Yeah.
excitement, or it said
No, it said surprise. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
surprise was the word it said. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah. So
I was
no,
like,
I think our energy and our attitude towards it, and the state of mind that you're in, anything going on in your life, like, you need to be clear-headed and all that stuff when you're investigating. And like I said, that first night, we didn't go in to investigate. We went in to, just look around, I mean, if we heard something or whatever, but she was really more showing me around. We had no intentions to investigate because I really wasn't in the headspace for that. So, but it was just a place, hey, let's go check out this location that we could investigate. And, that's always perks me up. So, whether I'm investigating or not, just getting to look around a place is just cool to me. So, but I went in there in that headspace, so maybe that's why we got some of what we got with the, and it was just impromptu to do the funeral. I don't even know what made me do that. It just, I don't know, something hit me about, hey, well, I mean, if they're gonna start interacting, let's try something. And I think I just went with the funeral service, maybe because that was the last thing it was used as.
Yeah.
It was the most recent thing it was used as. So I think that's just what I went for first. And, maybe a subconscious and then maybe it didn't have nothing to do with it. Maybe that's just what we got.
I mean, you never know.
Because I mean, I definitely wasn't expecting to get the pictures I got. So,
and I think there was one more. Let's see if I can find that. And it was downstairs.
But there's two more.
That's right. Let me see. I may have to post these separate. So I was looking through.
I think the other one upstairs, you have to kind of zoom in. When I was trying to send them, they're so little. That's why another reason I sent you so many, because I couldn't see. So I want to make sure.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Let's see. Bear with me for just a few minutes. And now I'm trying to remember when we were downstairs in that hall, what it was that happened. Because something happened just before you caught this picture. Let's see.
Now you testing my memory here. I don't know.
Okay, so let me.
Were we hearing voices or footsteps or something?
I don't remember. So we were down there in the hall, and you were just snapping.
And this is actually right outside the room that was kind of giving me the creeps the other night.
Yep.
And I was like, what was this room used for? Because it's creeping me out.
So that was the first picture. And that was the second. Is that right?
Yeah.
Over there on the right-hand side?
Mm-hmm. So this would have been where we were standing in this week's episode when I took this picture. We were standing in front of that closet.
Yeah. So
you just can't see the door to that other room. It doesn't really have any, and when you blow it up, it doesn't really have any form to it, but it's definitely an anomaly because the picture right after that is clear.
Yeah.
And then I found it odd that then when we went down there this week, that same area gave me the same feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that's what it was. It was just the feeling I got, and why I
It must have
when
been. I was thinking we had
we
heard
were just
something
walking
or
around.
touched
We
or
did
something.
hear stuff, but I think I just got this feeling, and I was like, I need a picture over there. And that's kind of how I take my pictures. I see cool stuff, and I want to take a picture of that, but I just take my pictures by feeling, and I tend to get lucky.
Yeah.
Did you find one upstairs? The other one?
Let me see here.
That one was my favorite one.
It was the one.
So there was one with the light and then the one with the thing. Because there was that blue light and then that thing appeared. And the succession of these pictures was so neat because I actually have it timestamped in, all the metadata in the pictures showing Miranda exiting, coming past me as I'm taking these pictures. And so you can tell what she looks like in motion. And then you see this other thing. So I love to be able to document that and picture wise,
There we go.
Yeah. Now the picture before this, Miranda was coming out of the shot. So she is coming out of the shot, and this is her out of the way. So, I have that in succession, and one second after the other. So, that was even better for me to like, hey, I've even got proof where she was at, when I took that picture. So it definitely wasn't you.
No. And I don't know what, I'm always, to me, that looks like that's emitting its own light.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some kind of blob that's blocked out.
Yeah. And when you zoom in, it looks like legs.
Yeah.
Walking. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
can you zoom in on that?
I may be able to. I think I'm as far zoomed in. That's as far zoomed in as it'll let me zoom. At least on this, I'll have to download it. So what I'll do is I'll actually release these.
Okay.
With this, and
yeah, y'all can study them. Give us your opinion. I would analyze them. I would love to know what you think about the pictures that we got because, I usually get at least one good picture when I go somewhere. But to get 3 different ones. I mean, the one downstairs definitely didn't have as much form, but the two upstairs, just to get that in just such a little amount of time to get those kind of pictures is just, I mean, some people go forever and never get one picture, but to get two like that in the same, in just such a short time span, it's just crazy. So, I mean, that just, I was like, oh, we've got to investigate here.
Well,
so cool.
Well, I'm glad we did. And so,
this has been such an uplifting investigation and definitely, adds to the repertoire of perspective.
Absolutely.
At least. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, we got one more episode left of the season. It's going to be our season finale. Now, I am just going to go ahead and say, so that'll be this coming Tuesday night. We'll be wrapping up season 8 with the 5th episode, season finale here. Now, it is an outdoor episode. And as of right now, the place where we're going to be, they are predicting rain. If it comes the rain they're predicting, it won't make for a good investigation. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try to have an alternate location, or if it's raining, if we just won't have the episode and we'll reschedule the season finale for another time. Trying to decide. On one hand, I want to have an alternate, but I want it to make sense, and with our theme. So I don't know. I don't want to put in a place just to put in a place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching the weather and weather around in this area and that area can change. It can change from the morning to the time of the investigation. So we'll try to make a call as early as possible. But I typically don't advertise the episodes till midday on Tuesday anyways. But like I said, we will either do it on a different day. And what's bad about the whole thing is that they're giving rain most of next week. So it's not like I could just say, oh, we'll do it on Monday night or we'll do it on Wednesday night. I need to kind of look at things and we'll make a call on that and see what we need to do. But if we don't get to do it, and if we don't do an alternative, we will have a season finale at some point. It may just be after Halloween, but we will see. I may be talking to you, Tiffany, about some alternatives. I've got a couple in mind, but I just don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So
if it wasn't going to be such a heavy rain, the canopy could protect the investigation at the location she's got planned. But if it's heavy at all, it's impossible. There's no way.
Yeah. Plus, you got to worry about tools getting wet
and we'd probably mar up there, I would think, pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ground's pretty soft.
Mm-hmm.
With like moss and stuff, so I would think so.
Yeah,
from what I recall.
Yeah,
It's
and I mean,
while.
outdoor investigations are always so challenging, anyways.
Yeah.
They're fun, but they're challenging. We'll see how it will be on a live, but this is one that's been requested. Some people put in some requests for this last season, and or not last season, but earlier this year. So. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be a great way to end the season. It has been a really good season so far, and if I had to end it on this episode, that'd be okay too. Because this was fantastic. So, but just to round out the life cycle and Ghost Biker Infinity, I think this will be a good spot. So. Like I said, I hate to kind of throw an alternate location in there just because, don't want to do that for the finale.
Yeah. Yeah. If we have to do that, this would be a great finale. I mean, it's, been such a refreshing investigation, like I said, and a surprising one. So,
Yeah. And Bob says the additional evidence just backed up the vibe that was being felt there. 100%.
yeah,
100%.
both times. Yeah, both times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, but I appreciate you guys for hanging in with us. It's 11:15 here, and it's been a great discussion. We appreciate you guys that watched the episode and that watched this. If you missed it, go back, check it out. Send me your timestamps of some cool things, and maybe by the next time we come onto our live, we'll have gone back and reviewed more evidence and be able to have more stuff. I feel like with each of these episodes, as I go back to review the static footage, we're going to have stuff that comes out in weeks to come after this that we'll be releasing.
yeah, for sure.
And Bob says, stick to your guns. It's always worth it. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but we will keep you up to date next Tuesday night, season finale, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll let you know. We'll be watching the weather, and we'll let you know if we're going to be going live or if we're going to have a change of plans. But again, thank you guys that have stuck with us this season. And so yeah, I have nothing else. Do you have anything else to add, Tiffany?
No, I've enjoyed this season. It's been great. It's so many different, from one extreme to the other, and I mean, in that in of itself, even though the other was very disturbing, it's good to have that perspective from this extreme to what we experienced, this week. It just drives that addiction to keep going out there and doing it,
Absolutely.
So, like, okay, we've been to the extremes from one end to the other. What else are we going to find at the next place? Or, and then this season too is really hit my research button. Mm-hmm. And I love to dig and find out things. And so that's been another thing that I've liked about these places. They've made me want to get back into the research part of it. And, because when you start traveling around and investigating, and even when you're at your own location, you're doing so much history, and you're trying to dig out so much information. But then, you kind of get burnt out on that. And then you go to these places that you hit and you leave, you verify what you can, the rest gets left behind. Some of these places me and you went back to several times, but some of them that we wanted to go back to, they've been torn down or whatever. And we're like, man, we wish we could go back. And we're left with all these questions that we won't ever be able to go back and, find answers to. So I think this season's been great for that, for not only catching things, experiencing extremes from one end to the other, but also being able to validate those, and to have the validation of this one when the other one was so unvalidated. I think having the validation of this one is a good conclusion, and not be left hanging, to not leave the ending open for another episode.
Exactly.
Like or something, So no, I definitely, yeah. This has been one of my favorite seasons, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your help in all this, and it just makes it more fun.
Thank you for bringing me along. I love
that. Always.
I love to be there.
Always. Well, we will see you guys next Tuesday night and for the season finale of season 8. So tune in. I hope you have a great weekend. Do something spooky. Stay warm, and we will see you all next week. Bye, guys.